Greetings, Star Warrior.
Welcome to the Outer Rim. You know, it occurs to me that while I spend a lot of time discussing The Last Jedi and why I don't like it, I've been neglecting a lot of the beta trolls that come to my channel and their concerns. The way YouTube sets up their notification provision, it's almost impossible for me to actually have a conversation with anybody over an extended period of time. You know, I can have a 5-minute conversation if people are responding to what I say right away in the comment section. But if I'm getting hundreds of comments a day, unfortunately, they drown in notifications. Or I should say, I drown in notifications. And so the beta trolls have been neglected in my videos and in my comments section, and so I thought I'd give this Kenneth Miller person the attention that he has so desperately been asking me for over the past 24 hours or so. And when I say beta trolls, I'm not necessarily talking about just anybody who likes The Last Jedi. I'm talking about the people who will come to my channel, listen to me make an argument for somewhere around 10 minutes, and then they respond with several comments with that have no substance whatsoever to the topic at hand, and they're clearly just trying to insult me for the sake of insulting me. That's what I mean when I say beta troll. So, in honor of all the beta trolls out there that have been bothering me, I have created this short montage of Resistance female heroes smacking down Resistance male heroes in the sequel trilogy. This is going to play over and over again across this video in honor of the beta trolls. So I would invite anyone who is not a beta troll and does not get off to this sort of thing to open up another tab and maybe, do something else while they listen to what I say here. This is not something I'm going to do very often, but, like I usually talk to my regular audience, today I'm going to be talking to the betas more than anybody else. I've had people tell me that the original trilogy had to be discredited by the sequel trilogy because the original trilogy is incorrect and abusive. Now, in this montage that I'm playing over and over again, it's basically showing a few short clips of female protagonists smacking down male protagonists. And I don't really remember an instance where the reverse happens in the original trilogy. I don't even remember an instance where this happens in the original trilogy. And the person that was telling me this, I basically pointed that out to them. There's nothing like that in the original trilogy where it happens that protagonists are giving each other the smackdown, male or female. It never happened. And their response to me was basically that Han and Leia were mean to each other. I kid you not. But enough on that subject for now. I was listening to a podcast just yesterday. The podcast is called something like Coffee with Kenobi or whatever. And the host had on 2 other guests, one a man, one a woman. And I think both of the guests were writers. The man was a guy who actually writes for Star Wars. I don't know if he writes comics or novels or what, but he writes for Star Wars, and I guess is official canon Star Wars now. So I didn't listen to the whole thing because I felt the podcast was pretty much rubbish. In the first 10 minutes or so, they were discussing the backlash to Star Wars, and the host was asking them why do they think it's happening. And the woman answered, I forget what the guy's answer was, but the woman's answer was that, there's a lot of Star Wars now. So basically, since there's so much Star Wars now, you can expect so much backlash. And eventually, they went on to discuss other things, and I turned away because it just wasn't interesting to me. What I do find interesting is how Disney shills feel that we are threatening enough to acknowledge, but we're not threatening enough to listen to. I mean, the way they treated the entire subject of the backlash was that they dismissed us because, for one thing, they totally misrepresent our positions on things. And it's not like we're not out here talking about our positions on things. Our positions on things are perfectly clear. So why does it seem like these guys don't know what we're pissed off about? To me, the answer is obvious. They can't deny our existence. Our existence is just too obvious to everyone. But they don't want to represent us truthfully in front of the general audience, the people who might actually not care so much about Star Wars in general, but who might end up buying tickets to Star Wars film and buying merchandise for their children, and so on. Anyone who actually really pays attention to Star Wars knows what we don't like about Disney Star Wars. They know it. You don't even have to ask the question, what are these people complaining about? And it's not quite that the woman was completely wrong in what she said. There is a problem with them releasing a movie a year. It just shows that there is a lack of care at Disney for Star Wars. They don't care how stupid the movies are as long as they can fool enough people into going to see them. George Lucas wasn't like that. Sure, he liked the money, and sure, I don't agree with everything he did with Star Wars, but he always cared about it. And that's what people who are complaining are used to. They're used to the people who are producing Star Wars movies caring about those Star Wars movies like they were their children or something. So I basically have two problems with the woman's answer. One, she never really draws her reasoning to the logical conclusion that Disney only cares about the money and Kathleen Kennedy only cares about women. And two, her explanation ignored all the other specific reasons that we've been very vocal about for months. I mean, I uploaded 35 videos last month, and I wasn't repeating myself. So how is it that 2 months after the fact, these people still don't know what the backlash is all about? I can only conclude that they do know, and they just wanted to dismiss us. And then once they're done discussing us, they can go on to, discussing things like Star Wars needing more women directors, or needing female directors, or whatever the article was. I'm not going to read the article. I'm just going to sort of, respond to that headline. I mean, what I find hilarious about the headline in general is that whoever wrote the article doesn't seem to care that they're effectively saying that women need to jump on to this sinking ship. For what reason, I don't know. But maybe they're covertly trying to bring Lucasfilm down. I can't really explain it any other way. Certainly these people have heard about the backlash. It's kind of like they're saying that women should get the opportunity to jump on top of a grenade as well. And my response to that is, okay, take your best shot, I mean, this person isn't writing these articles because they think that women can save Star Wars. They just seem to think that it's unfair that women are being left out from the directorial positions. I can't imagine anyone would make a worse movie than Rian Johnson. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's definitely possible. But honestly, I think these beta males who go in there and they get their directorial opportunity to ruin Star Wars, they overdo it. Whereas I think a woman who ends up directing a Star Wars movie would just, she would still do Kathleen Kennedy's BS, but she would be less likely to be as ridiculous as the beta male Rian Johnson was. Simply because Rian Johnson believes he can get something from women by putting men in a position of weakness. Generally speaking, women aren't looking for those types of favors from other women. So while any woman who's going to get hired by Kathleen Kennedy will go in there and make a Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars film, Rian Johnson goes in there and he makes a super beta Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars film. A Beta Wars. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this across the galaxy, and check out the Patreon link in the description box below. And as always, if you're listening, you are the new rebellion.